Awesome.
Because a lot of times, like after, especially with these, I don't retain any information from them. So it's like with readings, it's a little different because at least I can kind of remember some things, but getting in there is a little different, and getting out, it's like, no, you don't get to remember shit. So do you have questions ready?
No, I don't have any questions.
So is it just kind of what you need to know with it?
I've never had an Akashic record reading, and I was just curious.
Okay. So Akashic records are the records of your soul. So usually people will have 3 to 5 questions that they want to know about. When you're not quite sure, it's just kind of more what you're missing, what your soul needs to know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and what I'll do is I'll lay all these cards out, and then I'll take a picture and send it to you over like email. Okay. So when you go back and listen, I gotta move all this crap. So when you go back and listen to it, yeah, you can have the reference, the picture reference. So
I am curious about my soul. And I got some other readings from you, but they're not until January.
Okay. Yeah, April told me I was booked out till January.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of surprised me. Okay. So I will tell you just right off the bat, I'm going to take a picture of this and send it to you. I will tell you just right off the bat, you're going to get inundated with pictures from me. I'm just letting you know.
Okay, awesome.
So I drew a couple of anchor cards, like just to kind of give me a feel overall and to open everything up. I guess that's a better way to say it. And so the ones on both ends like flung out right side up, and the one in the middle is upside down. I was like, okay, so the one on this end is knowledge upside down, and the one on this end is denial, and it's sideways. And then, but in the middle is the judgment card. So first of all, those 3 things tell me that you actually, so here's the best way I can explain it. You have a younger human soul. Your soul itself is pretty young, but I bet you probably already know you're a starseed. You probably already feel like you don't fit in here. You don't belong. Like things don't make sense to you. But human wise, part of it is because your soul has not lived a whole ton of human lives. So it's like, that's why you don't understand people. Like, I don't know why you're acting this way. But the 2 cards in the middle, because I drew a couple other ones, and I took a picture of this line because I'm going to be laying cards on top of it. You have the Ageless, which is a healer card. And then you also have the Traveler, which is upside down, which is like restless and movement, independence, and so on. So all of these together tell me your soul has a very specific purpose this time around, in this life. Your soul has a very specific purpose. You're one of those souls that even though your soul is a little younger, it's because, and when I say younger, it doesn't mean age-wise is not quite a thing like we think it is here. Like we put a timeline on things here, but it's not the way it actually works the rest of the universe.
Yeah.
So your soul in every single life you have, you're very careful and cautious when you choose that life. You're very careful and cautious of what you're going to accomplish, what you don't need to worry about. Like you're very focused and very determined when your soul picks a life. Like, okay, I need to do X, Y, Z, and I don't give a crap about this stuff over here. With this life in particular, I would bet you're very irritated when people around you are not organized or they don't handle their shit either. With this life here, you chose to come now during this time because of all this shit going on, all this massive shift with people, with the earth, etc. You also chose to not remember anything this time around. That's why you're kind of looking for your past, trying to figure out where you're going, why you're here, etc. It's like, you know, but you don't know at the same time. And it's frustrating because your soul is like, I remember, you just told me I can't. So that's part of where that knowledge card's upside down and the denial card is sideways. Because it's like your soul keeps reminding you you're not supposed to know. And I can feel the frustration and like just the being pissed off about it. Like, why did I choose to do that? The independence and the restless card being upside down tells me that you are where you are in life right now for a reason. Everything that's come up to this point, your soul planned it out before you got here. Like you literally have a little roadmap. Your soul has a little roadmap. Like, okay, here. So even times when you were very indecisive, when you weren't sure where you were going, like, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, like those kind of things, your soul already knew, already knew, but you had to go through that path. The ageless there is kind of curious to me because, like I said, it's a healer card and it's an acceptance card. And then you have that judgment card in the middle. Part of what you're here for this time is, and I'll try to explain it the best I can because there's not a term for it. You know, like I can say healer and people think everything from doctor to shaman, you know, and everything in between. Whereas if I say doctor, you know exactly what that is. Does that make sense? This is more of like a worse version of the word healer because your path this time around in this life is to heal parts of your own soul that are damaged. You've only had a few human lives here. Every one of them has been hard as fuck. And so that's why even the times in this life now when you're happy, you feel that like you're not supposed to be happy. This feeling of, even though I have what I want, have everything I need, you could be the happy, you could literally have everything you ever wanted in your life at that moment. And in that moment, think, I'm still not happy. Like your soul, you just have so much that's missing from these other human lives where your soul has gotten so fractured and damaged from it. You take a lot of hits for a lot of people, a lot of other souls. Let me say that. So part of your journey this time around is to regain those pieces and to heal them together. And the problem is you only have a very short amount of time to do that. Like maybe another year or two, if I would say a year, because when I said 2, that was instantly wrong. Because once you get all of those things healed with yourself, you're supposed to help other people do the same thing.
That makes sense.
So there's several things that have to happen for you to heal, to pull those parts of yourself in. A lot, apparently. So boundaries, dealing with some inner child stuff. Okay. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to be sending you a ton of pictures. The cards that pulled for this to find out what it is. There's only 3, even though I said there was a lot, there's only 3, but the problem is these 3 are big things. So you have the I won't cry for you card, which is boundaries, but it's a different type of boundaries. It's not so much setting boundaries with other people. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's more setting boundaries with yourself in that you've got to really control that empathic aspect of yourself and learn, this is my emotion, this is somebody else's emotion, and you need to take it the fuck back. But the I won't cry for you part is you have this soft spot for other souls that are damaged because of that healer aspect. So you draw those souls in that are damaged like your soul, thinking, I can fix this, I can help you, whatever. Even if you don't, it's like you don't even know what's wrong with them, but you're like, I can fix it, but you can't. And so you keep drawing these people in. So you have to set that boundary with yourself that you cannot allow yourself to feel sorry for everyone that comes to you, because your soul draws those broken people to you because of what you're supposed to do in this life. So that one right there is going to be very hard because you're empathic as hell as it is. So feeling someone else's damage and them being broken is very hard for you. It makes your soul hurt because you know you're supposed to fix it. But until you pull yourself back in, you can't fix them properly. You can only give them parts of yourself, which then damages you more. So the inner child aspect, here's what's interesting about that. What kind of readings do you have coming up with me in January?
I have, I think, a starseed one.
Okay.
Or either that or past lives, because I have been really curious about my past lives.
That's what I was going to ask. Because this, a lot of this inner child work is not from this life. It's not from this life.
Yeah, I'm so curious about my past lives. And I know that there is like karma that I'm working through in this lifetime, but there's like a couple key things from past lives that I don't know what happened. Like I can't remember it.
Yeah. So that's where some of this inner child work is going to stem from. And because when I'm looking at this, it's not that you didn't have like this absolutely completely horrible shit childhood this time around. You did a couple of times. So
that makes
even
so much
this
sense.
time, when you look back and you're like, I actually really had a pretty good childhood, it's still hard. Your brain goes, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Even though you're like, oh, I really kind of did. Your brain's like, no, you didn't. It's because you still have this damage, because these other two were absolutely horrid. And so this is what you're trying to deal with inner child wise going forward. So I'm glad that you have a past life scheduled in. Even if you don't, if you have a star seed or something like that, I may be like, we're just going to do a past life because it's something you have to know about.
I sent an email about it because I think I got the thing wrong, but she said that was fine.
Okay. Just remind me, but I'll remember when I see your face. I'll be like, okay, past life. Yeah. Okay. So because finding out what those things were, what those damages were, is going to help you repair them and move forward. I have like this horrible cowlick in my bangs, and today it's like, yeah, I'm just going to stick up. So
yeah, that would help me a lot, knowing what happened in the past lives.
Yeah, it's so the good thing is it actually makes it a little easier because when it's stuff here from this life, you have to deal with it physically. You know what I mean? Like you have to either go to a counselor, you have to confront the people, things like that. When it's a past life, you can't do that. So immediately your brain's like, okay, this is a little easier. Like I just have to process it with me. So it's actually a little easier. It's finding it out that's the hard thing. Whereas here, finding it out is easy, processing it is hard. So it's actually much easier to do it this way around, and go through and deal with some of those things. The third card here is interesting because it took a while for it to draw, and like it took me a while to get it pulled out. And it's actually the envious gluttony card. But it's not an envy type thing with you. It's not your soul is envious of other things or other souls. It's that, and I have a feeling this is some of that karma that you were talking about. It's that you have a couple of souls this time around that you have issues with. You have, whether it's karma, whether it's a soul bond, whatever, that are extremely jealous of where you are, who you are, and what you are. So it's coming to terms with that and pushing those people away. So that one is going to actually be pretty hard for you, because the pushing the people away is what's going to be hard.
Yeah.
So, and some of it ties back in it. I mean, these all three tie together. So a lot of that one ties back into the boundaries and the I won't cry for you card. So it's going to be fun. So now I'm curious about, fuck is the right deck? There we go. I was like, I know I have another deck. Okay, that's a little too many. I don't think that's cool. All right, I'll do 2. I just won't do 10. So the next line I drew is the lightning card upside down and the beloved card upside down. So here's what's going to suck about this time around. Because even though you have to do all this other stuff for other people, and I know you already know this whenever it comes out of my mouth, you already feel this, you already know it. It's going to be a very lonely path for you.
Mm-hmm.
You have a specific role you have to play. And what's funny is whereas lightning branches out like this, yours is a very straight and narrow role. You are going to have people that come in your life that you love intensely, that they love you intensely. They're meant to be in your life at that moment, but they're not meant to walk the path with you forever. So what sucks about that is I feel that on a very deep level, and I understand that feeling in the pit of your stomach when you realize it. But just that very specific straight and narrow path, once you get on it, it makes it a lot easier. And I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
My dog's here, the Amazon guy. Guys,
it makes sense.
Stop. So yeah. It's one that you have to get very used to. Well, not very used to. You just have to get okay with it. I mean, I unfortunately understand very deeply. It's been shown to me repeatedly and trying to hold on to people that I was like, no, I can't be alone. I don't want to be alone. And the universe is like, sorry, and like yanks them or yanks me the other way. And so I do understand, unfortunately. So you're going to have people that come into your life that you love with an intense passion that you're like, I have never felt this before. But the thing is, you're going to have several of them. You're going to love them on a level that is deeper than the others, but the same at the same time. And I hope that made sense when I said
it. Makes sense.
Yeah, because you just love them with this intense passion, and it's like you cannot get enough of them. And it's not that they're twin flames. It's not that they're soulmates or anything like that. It's that they are brought into your path because of this healing aspect of yourself. They're brought here because you have to set them on their path. You have to bring part of their soul back together. So you're going to have several of them. And girl, you're so much like me in some aspects. You're going to get to the point where when these people come into your life, you're going to immediately go, oh, okay, you're one of those people. And then you're going to get to the point where the universe tells you how long they're to be in your life, which fucking blows. I'm just going to tell you right up front, it blows. I've been that way for a while, and it makes it almost impossible to date, because the first, and part of mine stems too, because when I touch somebody, it's a color and so on. But I know from the first time I shake someone's hand or hug them, how long they're supposed to be in my life. And it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks. Even if it's like 3 years, still, now you have a countdown. Yeah. And you already know it's going to end. Sometimes it's like 3 hours. It's just, it's horrible. It's horrible. But at the same time, it does make you appreciate the time that you have with that person. So I'm just letting you know that's coming your way. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. There's a gift you don't want. But every time you experience it, it makes you wiser in a way that you can't quite explain. And that's the only way I can explain it. It unlocks things deep in your soul that you need to know going forward.
Yeah.
It will unlock things with that person, but it will also unlock things that you're supposed to accomplish as that person's in your life. Because even though you're in their life, they're in your path, for you to help them, for you to teach them, or whatever it is, there's something that you have to gain from that teaching as well. So it's kind of interesting and sucky at the same time going forward for you. So I'm curious why whenever I said about loving people intensely and stuff, you giggled.
Well, I've always known that I am like very alone, and I grew very comfortable with that. And it's rare when I like someone, but when I do like them, I like them a lot. And it also makes a lot of sense that my human soul is younger, because I feel so kind of awkward on this plane of existence, and I feel a lot more comfortable, like even when I'm dreaming or just not when I'm being a human. And so I was just curious, like what, and you're right, like I don't remember, but I know I just don't remember. So I just didn't know, like I know exactly what I'm meant to do. So I've gone through a lot of addiction and like mental health, and also a lot of suicide stuff. And I always was thinking when I was younger, if I die on this plane of existence, then I can go back to where I came from.
I understand. I really do.
Yeah. So the first time I tried to kill myself, it was 11 years old. And that was just kind of a reoccurring theme. And then I was really had a lot of addiction, alcoholism and addiction issues. And I realized, well, if I kill myself this time around, then I just have to come back and do the same thing over. And so now I need to work on continuing to get myself situated so that I can help people in addiction and suicide that they have issues with that. Like that's what I'm meant to do. So I know that. I have a couple of things that I'm still holding on to that are like really hard for me to let go. And it actually ties into addiction. Like I have an addiction to a human right now. And I think it's from like a past life. Like we have like a weird soul bond, and that part, like I'm just having a hard time letting it go.
Yeah. I understand. And I would bet that's probably somebody that you have a soul or a karmic bond with, or it could be that they're in your soul tribe, and that's why you keep coming back to them. You keep revolving around each other. So what's interesting about, and here's what's really funny. I literally just had this conversation yesterday with two different people, that people whose souls are getting close to the end of their time, where souls remember when we're reborn, we remember where we were, and people that have near-death experiences experience it in a more real fashion of what's after this or before or whatever. And the only way I can explain it is you understand that being here is bullshit. Being here is bullshit. It's bullshit. So there's a talk that Dolores Cannon gives where she talks about that Earth is actually hell. Earth is actually hell, and you don't want to be. So people that are starseeds, that are very sensitive, that have never lived in this they don't belong in this plane of existence. Like it's just overwhelming and too tough for them. Will have problems with mental health, with addiction, with suicide, with just running off the rails, running off the reservation, whatever you want to call it. They've never been plugged into the matrix all the way because their brain won't allow them to be. So I understand that on a very, very deep level. I had a lot of problems with suicidal issues when I was younger, when I was in high school. And I had a great childhood.
Same.
And,
this time.
yeah, this time around. Yeah. And I went through a spot where I just knew like, I don't need to be here. Like, the world is better without me. I don't need to be here. And I've struggled with that a few times. I've drawn so many broken people to me. I've been married to 2 narcissists, like and I don't mean just like like word wise, like all the way around horrible. And so I do understand on a very deep level. And I also knew that if I ever allowed myself to start drinking, if I ever allowed myself to do things, like, I would fall down that hole. I knew this time around. So I just have never been a drinker. I've never gotten into any of that because I already know that it allows me to not be here.
Yeah.
And I also understand one thing that I do get addicted to, and I have to be careful, is traveling. So doing a lot of shamanic traveling and things like that. I get addicted to it because I'm not here. I'm where I'm supposed to be, and it makes me happy. And so I don't want to leave. I don't want to come back here. And so that sucks because I know I can willingly go there. I just can't stay. And so it sucks.
Yeah.
But so I really understand that feeling. And it's hard to explain to other people because they're like, well, I don't understand why you feel that way. It's like, I know you don't understand why I feel that way because you're plugged into the matrix fully. You haven't been unplugged. You haven't taken the red pill yet. So
yeah. I remember
pill.
when I was like 6 years old, I was in dance class and there was a mirror and I was looking into the mirror and I was just looking at myself. And then I said to myself, not again. Like, are you serious? I was like frustrated. I was like, ah. And yeah. I'll always remember that because I was just like, oh, come on. Like, really? And I'm like, well, this body is interesting.
Yeah. And that's kind of the best way to look at it, really, is it's just one of those cruise ship vacations that's turned horrible that you can't really get off of, but you don't know why it's really horrible. You just want to leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
you did go to the port you wanted to go to, and you do have the all-you-can-eat buffet, and you know what I mean, and things like that. But you're like, yeah, then I'm tired of being here. I want to go home. So yeah, I really, really understand that. Trust me. And you're gonna start to find, as you delve deeper down this path, you're gonna start to find a lot of people that they're in the same boat you are. They're on the same cruise ship you are. They just want to get the fuck off.
Yeah.
So while we were talking, I drew 3 more cards. So you have strength upside down, blessed sight upside down, but then creativity. So this is kind of what's going on right now. Right now, your soul's been knocked down a bit to where you feel like it's not as strong as it's supposed to be, or it has been in the past, or it should be. Your gifts are also being masked a little bit. It's like you have to experience not being connected right now.
That's exactly how I feel. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Well, here's why.
Okay.
And this is one of the things I hate about having I hate when these words have to come out of my mouth. A, it has to happen for a reason, the way it's happening, and B, it's not for me to tell you. But here's the hint, because I can give you a hint. This is what sucks about reading someone's Akashic records, is that sometimes I pull out the file. So to me, they look like this huge filing cabinet. And when somebody asks the question, it goes to that file and I open it. But when I do it like this, it's like the cards are the question. When I draw the cards, that's the question. It pulls the file. So when I open up a certain file and part of it's redacted, like blacked out, I'm like, motherfucker, like that's something important. So I always hate that I'm like, I can't tell you, like it's part of why you're here to figure it out. So here's the hint I can give you, is that the creativity card is right side up at the end of those 3 cards. So And I kind of see why you found me now and why we're going to talk a few times. You have to find your own creative way, your soul's way of regaining that inner strength and regaining your sight. And when I say sight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what I had to do with mine. It's like I was super connected and then all of a sudden nothing. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, how do I do this? I had to find a creative way to get it back. And I will tell you, once I found that way and once I started fully walking down that path, it smacked me like a ton of bricks that I wasn't quite ready for. So it's like you asked the universe for a beach ball and it threw you a medicine ball bigger than you are and it knocked you on your ass. Like it knocks your dick in the dirt. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
It's great. But at the same time, you're like, oh my fucking God, like this is too much. But it's a good too much. It's not a bad too much. Like I can't handle this. It's a good too much. Like, okay, I got this. So you have to find that creative aspect of your soul that allows you to pull back your strength and that sight, because you have a unique sight as well. Just because even though your soul intentionally forgot when it came here, like parts of it are so strong, it's bleeding through. You can regain a lot of that back by simply acknowledging to yourself, like, hey, I know that I said I didn't want to know this time around, but I also know I have a specific purpose here to help other people. And I need some of that knowledge back. You may not get all of it, but you may get a massive amount.
I feel like it's like right here and I just can't quite get it. Mm-hmm. And it has been a little frustrating. And even a couple of years ago, I was so much more sensitive where I could actually hear things and see things. And I was a lot more connected, and now I'm like flat soda.
Yeah, I gotcha. Thank you. I appreciate that. Gotcha. Okay. You and I are a lot alike. I get good pictures without it reflecting. So I'm going to show you these cards.
Okay.
Because this is kind of what your next steps are supposed to be. First, and this is funny because we just talked about you not feeling strong enough. This is the pillar card. So that's why I was like, it's hard to like get it without the reflection.
Yeah.
But you have to find, it's not quite your inner strength. It's like these pillars that hold your soul up. And and the only way I can explain this, it's your source self's temple, your source self's soul temple. So I'll have to find them, but I'll find them and send it to you when I send you these pictures. I can't spell.
And I've never found that before, right?
Right. Well, not in this life. Not in this life. So here's my other question that kind of goes along with this. Are you a smoker, or are you open to drinking some tea or whatever that will help you get there easier?
Yeah.
Okay. Because finding your source self and finding your soul temple is not something you can really do here just with meditation or whatever. You have to, especially, well, the first time, if you've never done it before, your brain fights it hardcore because the human aspect is like, no, like we're not going to go there. Like we're here.
Can I get there on mushrooms?
Yep, you absolutely can.
Okay. Mushrooms are mushrooms are like my medicine. It helps me see, and it works really well with my system. Awesome. Right now on my like sobriety path, I just can't have weed or anything like that, but mushrooms are okay. I could do ayahuasca, stuff like that.
Okay. So I don't really recommend ayahuasca because that provides more of an ego death and you can't get off of that. Like you're there until it wears off. I don't recommend that. I'm going to say yet, but actually it's not something I would recommend for you. When I say you and I are a lot alike, we're a lot alike, alike. Mushrooms are fabulous. Mushrooms are fucking fantastic. That is exactly what I would recommend. You just never know when you're talking to somebody. So I kind of have to ease into it. Like,
yeah.
So I'm gonna find a couple of meditations and send them to you. What I recommend is, are you kind of an experienced mushroom person?
Very.
Okay. All right. So you know what you're.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing with that. The one thing that I've been running into is lately when I'm getting in different meditative states and or astral projecting, there's like entities that are latching on and they don't seem very nice. They're like really bad, it seems.
Yep.
Like they almost seem harmful. So I don't know how to protect myself.
So here's again where you and I are a lot alike. Because this is exactly what happened to me. I have epilepsy. I travel a lot without knowing I'm traveling, like in my sleep and when I have a seizure and things like that. I had one in particular attached to me. I had a whole bunch of them, but this one in particular would hit me every Saturday night, like fucking clockwork. Like it was horrible. It got to the point where I wasn't sleeping hardly at all during the week because it was so bad. What happens is when you travel and being an experienced mushroom person, you travel a lot. And so they recognize right off the bat if someone has any kind of talent at all, if their soul has something unique with them. And if they do, and like you said, if you don't know how to protect yourself, it's like a very fucked up version of Monsters Inc. Like whoever made that movie, they knew exactly what these things do. Like that's how they are. They just made it all Disney and happy and, Pixar happy. It's not. Like they fucking feed on you.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot to get rid of them, but let me write that down too, because I need to send you how to protect yourself too. I can't spell. Okay. Because you have to protect yourself against them. And there's also, like with me, with this one in particular, it took me a while to get rid of it. It actually took me like a superhero dose of mushrooms to gain the power I needed to get rid of it. I don't recommend that because I was sick as fuck for like 4 or 5 hours afterwards. But it gave me what I needed to literally destroy the thing with my hands. And it was nice. It was nice. So I'll send you how to protect yourself, because the next, and here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to do it in a couple of travels. Like I'll send you the stuff to protect yourself, how to do it, etc. And you're going to have to kind of steel yourself that you are an extremely powerful soul. That's why they're latched onto you. And that's why they're trying to terrify you, to scare you, to whatever they're doing. And also you're going to have to know going into that experience that you hold so much more power than they do. Most human souls don't. You're not a human soul. You're a very unique soul.
Am I?
You hold way more power than those things do.
Okay.
Way more power. And once you realize that, and like literally you need to start right now building it up in your head. Like I hold way more power over those fucking things than you know what I mean? Like tell yourself I have way more power, like own it. And in your mind, when you're saying I have more power than them, and this is what sucks, is you have to start seeing, feeling, because you know how they feel when you go, you know what I mean? You feel they're right here and they're over your shoulder. Concentrate on that and concentrate on the fact that I am way more powerful than you. However you want to see yourself that way.
Okay.
if you need to see
I
yourself
can do that.
in
I know
gold.
exactly what to do.
Okay, good. I was like, I know you know what I'm saying. Everybody
Yeah,
has
I know.
a view of yourself when you feel like, if I looked like this, or if I was made of this, whatever.
I have the exact thing.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So start owning that,
Okay.
because you literally have the power to crush the things with your hands.
Okay.
And they know that. That's why they keep the terrifying aspect of it, because if you realize that, they don't have any power of you. Here's the great thing about it. Once you get past those fuckers, the ones that actually want to help you are fucking amazing. And your spiritual self will go through the roof with what you know.
So
and what
this was what I'm supposed to be working on currently, and like kind of, can you explain that a little bit more?
Yep. Yeah. So let's go back to the source self thing.
Oh yeah.
And part of the reason you have to get past this part is because you can't meet your source self until you get past that aspect. That's what they're holding. It's like they're like this little black box that's holding you in from all of this massive shit out here. So I have full faith in you that you can destroy those fuckers. So they're really pathetic once you realize that you're stronger than them. Like, it really gets pathetic. Once you're able to do that, and that's what I would do first, is destroy those bitches. Once you're able to do that, the next time that you travel, like I said, I'll send you some meditations and things like that. And it's mainly just music you listen to while you're traveling, but you have to go into it with the mindset that I want to meet my source self, not your higher self, your source self. Star seeds are a little different in that, yeah, we have a higher self like normal humans do, but we have a source, which is how we are originally, who we are originally. And it will blow your mind when you meet yourself. It will blow your mind, and it will singe that image into your brain. Like, it will be something that years later, decades later, you'll be able to see as clearly as you see your face in the mirror. I mean, it's amazing. And with that, you want to know where you live. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. You want to see your temple, your house, your home, whatever it is. And that will blow you away as well. And the first time you go in, explore, fully explore, and have your mindset that this is my house and I can explore it. And it may look like a house. It may look like a pyramid. It may look like a temple. It may look like a mountain. Like, it's going to be crazy, but it's amazing at the same time. It's where your soul lives. So this is where you want to go back to, because you hate being here. That's what you're going to experience. Okay.
Exactly.
And the next card here, once you find that out, it's the surrender card. And this right here was the hardest thing for me to do. And it's going to be very hard for you as well, because you've spent your whole human life this time around telling yourself you can't surrender to some of these things. Like, I have to stay here. I have to finish. I have to do this. I have to do that. Surrendering to your gifts and to knowing where you're going, where your soul is, all of that stuff, but knowing that you still have to kind of wait. The good thing is, in meeting your source self and finding your soul's temple where you live, you can go back there at any time. And once you find it that way, and your brain is unlocked, it's like you open that deadbolt and you can go in and out. So you don't have to take as much to travel. And when you get to the point meditation wise, you can set in your mind, even if you're not taking mushrooms, you can set in your mind, like, I need to go home. I need to visit home for a little bit and go in.
And then maybe more of my gifts will come back.
They will.
Okay.
Tremendous. So here's the other part. And I'm going to show you this card in a second. And then I need to hurry my ass up. I get to talking, especially when it's like this stuff, because it's important. It's really important. Mm-hmm. And I don't often meet a lot of people that are like me in this aspect. So it's sometimes I can probably sit and talk to you the rest of the fucking day. Remember at the very beginning when I talked about you being a healer and you having these things you have to do and so on. Part of the reason why you have such an important path is because this is the Weaver card. So you're actually the weaver of your own fate this time around. So this is why this is why your soul is like, I don't want to do this anymore. But at the same time, you're like, I'm just going to have to fucking come back if I don't do it.
Yeah.
So I am going to tell you, even though your soul is a little younger, human wise, this is your last time here.
Oh, thank you. Yay.
So that's why your soul has been like, if I die, I have to fucking come back.
So much sense. I was just like, I know it. I can't kill myself. I have to just do it.
Yeah, you have to just pull your big kid pants up and do it, because you're not supposed to come back. You're not supposed to come back. You're supposed to move on and do the next thing your soul has to do. So that's why every time you've thought about it, every time you've tried, etc., something has pulled you back every time, because your soul is like, dude, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to do this again. So yeah, you are the weaver of your own destiny this time around, because you have things you have to accomplish. And what's funny is it's not even a lot of things. They're just big things. They're just big things. And you kind of feel that weight too. You kind of feel that weight.
Yeah.
So yeah, finding your source self. I mean, you have some big steps you have to take, but the thing is, and now I understand why I said that year timeline, because you can, in destroying those things and in meeting your source self and finding your soul's home, you can do that in a couple of weeks. Like, it's not hard. It's just that first hurdle is getting rid of those fuckers.
Okay.
So you can find the ones. There are so many there that are, well, I say so many. There are way less of the ones that want to help than there are the ones that are just dick bags. But it's kind of that way with humans too. You know,
I can get past it.
Yeah. But I take my lunch today at like 2:30 or 3, I can't remember. So it'll probably be then when I'm able to type this email out to you, and it's going to be a pretty long email. I'm just letting you know, but
okay.
Kind of to give you some clear instruction. This is how I did it. So take it and tweak it how it feels right for you. But the ones that are there that want to help and that have the knowledge and to help teach you things, it really rockets you forward. It really rockets you forward.
Finding my source self and my home will help me connect with myself so that I can then help other people.
Yeah.
On my path in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you will have a couple of things that are in the astral plane that attach is not the right word, but it's like they become your guides.
Yeah.
You'll have one in particular that will take a liking to you once you get past these other things. You'll have one in particular that'll take a liking to you, and that they'll be your guide. Okay. So it's like they make best friends with your source self when you're in that place. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'm so happy.
What's awesome about that too is that it also stops so much of that alone feeling here.
Yeah, it does. And I also was feeling that just slightly, but I was open to whatever would happen in my life, but I have not been wanting to have a child because I don't want to continue like a loop thing here. Yeah. So I'm like, I can adopt someone and, but like, I don't want to have a child. I don't want to leave like stuff on this planet.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, I understand. I didn't want kids either. Like, I was adamant. I have 2. And now that they're like my oldest is 22 and my youngest is 15. And now that I'm seeing their abilities develop, I'm like, I understand why you were given to me. Like, I understand.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Because I fought adamantly against it, and like having a kid, like I was always on birth control. I was super careful, and I got pregnant both times on the pill and the shot, like at the same time.
They're like, here's your.
I mean, it was one of those things where I'm like, what? Like, what just happened right now? So yeah.
I know the time is almost up, but does it say if this is my first lifetime as a female?
No, you've had a couple. Your soul
Okay.
is you have more of a feminine soul, but you've experienced an equal amount. So that's why you have no problem going back and forth. That's why when you need to have that masculine aspect of yourself, you can. And when you want to be a girly girl, you can. It's like you slip in and out of those roles so easy that sometimes it's hard for you to tell, like, okay, like, am I just really, really masculine, or am I really it's like you literally just slide back and forth.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
A lot of star seeds are like that. A lot of star seeds are like that. Like there's days where you're gonna feel like you are just the dudeliness of all dudes, and then there's days where you're like, nope, girly girl. Like,
it's like that. Yeah. Like, I'm an actual guy.
Yeah. Most star seeds are like that because other places don't have gender.
It's just fluid.
Yeah. They don't have genders like we have here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna check my calendar. I'm really looking forward to the other readings, and I think I'm just gonna get like more readings, and we can just figure out how, like, what to do during the reading.
Okay, that sounds good. So yeah, because that's something special. So I'll send you this email later, and I'll figure out the best way to go about that going forward. But yeah, look and see what other readings you have booked with me, so that way we'll know like what to go through. But yeah, I'll be sending you a real long email later and a whole bunch of pictures and all that shit. So
I really, really, really appreciate your help. I've never had like a spiritual mentor or anything like that. I've done like earthly counseling, but I haven't had, I need more like spiritual help, and I feel very safe with you and connected. So you helped me a lot.
Happy.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad you found me.
Yay.
All right, sweet pea, let me stop this. It'll yell at